Welcome to Unit 3.7. In this unit, we're going to learn about the address and the indirect function. The indirect function confuses a lot of people, so it's probably best shown using it as an example. Excel indirect is used to indirectly reference cells, ranges, or sheets or workbooks. In other words, the indirect function lets you create an Excel dynamic cell reference or range reference rather than hard coding those references into your Excel formulas. Let me show you an example. For example, here I have a whole lot of statistical data, and over here I'm going to say I'm going to refer to B3 and ask it to pull through what is in B3. So it's indirectly referencing B3 from here. Very, very simply, indirect. Let's click on the insert function. Where is the reference text? In F2. And OK. And it will tell me there is a 0 in cell B3. Let's have a look at this one again. Indirect, my reference text is C6. And let's see what it brings through in C6. 21. Sometimes perhaps I've only put the row number there. So it's not telling me which column. It's just saying 9. So what I'm going to do is I want it to look in the result column, in column D. So I'm going to combine column D with the 9. Okay, so my reference text would be column D. And the ampersand means join to cell F4. And that will give me a 54. Let's have a look. In D9, there it is, 54. So that ampersand means join or concatenate, join. Join D to whatever's in F4, which is my row number. You can also indirectly reference ranges as well. So for example, from D2 to D13, that would be the figures there in the results. I'd like it to sum. So let's first just do the indirect function. Select the reference and enter. Okay, not much happens there. I need to put sum in the front, so let's go up to the front there and say sum. So in other words, sum that reference. And it will tell me 665. Let's check. The bottom, 665. Over here, I'm going to average. Indirect. Select the reference and enter. And then to edit it, we go up in our formula bar and put sum, not sum this time, we're going to do average this time. And enter, let it correct it with the double bracket at the end. And that is averaging the ages. And if I highlight the ages and look at the bottom, you'll see 37.5, that is correct. My next one is I'm going to count how many of each type of age. So equals indirect. Enter, and then you can just go up in the front, and we're going to use the function count. Okay, there are 12 different ages in there. The last one is when you want to count with a condition. So in other words, I can't just count, I need to count if it's equal to 1. In other words, I want to count how many females there are in the gender column. So let's do the indirect first. Select the reference. Now, in the front, like we usually do, equals count if. Okay, and then we need to put a comma at the end like we normally do, and our criteria is a 1. And it's telling me that there are 5 females here. And yes, they are. So that's your indirect function. It refers to a reference and indirectly references it into a table array. Let's learn about the address column. It's a very simple, very, very simple function. It basically tells me the position if I give it the row and column. So let's do address. It says row number, in this case is 3, and the column number would be your 2. You can see how address might be tied in with the indirect, which we're going to look at just now. So I've given it the row and column number, but there's some more things, voluntary things at the end of this formula. So abs number means, must it make it absolute? Must it make just the row absolute and the column relative, or relative row absolute column, or no dollar signs, no absolutes in it whatsoever? It would be 4. In this case, let's say absolute, it defaults to that, comma. Here we always use A1 style. And it will reference and say that row 3 and column 2 would be in cell B3. Over here, let's do a different one where we only keep the row constant. Address. Which one's my row? The 3, comma. Which one's my column? The 2. And this one I'm going to only keep the row absolute. And I can end the formula there. You can see it's just the 3 there. This one has got a 3 at the end because it's only keeping the row constant, but the formula is exactly the same. And this one, row number, column number, and relative means that there is no dollar signs in it whatsoever. In this particular one, you can also get the cell that you're currently working in. In other words, I'm working in M6 over here. So I could go equals indirect. And over here I can type the function row, close my bracket, and comma, and then column. Let's just see what I've done here. Open close bracket, comma, and then the function column as well. And that will give me the cell that I'm currently working in, which is M6. You could also use address to reference a different sheet. So if we have a look here, I'm addressing the row over here, which is 3, my column, which is 2. I'm keeping it absolute with a 1. It's A1 reference style, and I put sheet 2 in the front. So in other words, that will reference B3 on sheet 2. So you're really just joining the word sheet 2 over there. So let's do this one again. My row number would be 3, my column would be 2. I want it absolute, it's A1 style, and I'm going to put a sheet 2 there. Close my quote. And so it will reference B3 in this sheet if I hadn't put the word sheet 2 in front. But you would put any name of whatever your sheet is called over there. So that's, in a nutshell, what your indirect and your address function is, and we will learn how to combine those in another lesson.